So the reason why people get into toxic relationships is because they love being in toxic relationships. They love being tossed around and being treated like absolute crap. And that's not just the only reason, because there's several factors that you can consider while looking at this relationship dynamic, because that is a part of it. But many people don't love being in toxic relationships. Many people are like, I don't really love this. I don't really like being treated in such a way. I don't like being treated in this way, which is not very respectable, not very highly human-like. It's not even they treat me like an animal, and still they decide to stay in these kind of relationships is because they're familiar to this treatment all their life. This is all they've known. They've been so used to be treated like this. And when they have this healthy relationship, when they come out of this, it's like they have the shock. Their whole body, their whole nervous system goes under this panic mode, shock. Like they've been used to a certain set of treatment, a certain set of pattern, behavior, and suddenly they're not being treated like that. Their brain goes under shock, and literally they kind of it's like them stepping out of their comfort zone. Now, I recently made a video on comfort zone, and you can watch that, and where I talk about toxic relationships for a small bit, and it's like them stepping out of their comfort zone. It's like them stepping into the unknown. Their body, their whole mind, their soul is not familiar to having healthy relationships. And when they come out of it, they come out of their toxic relationship, suddenly they feel weird. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel familiar. It doesn't feel like home. And that's the reason they go back into another toxic relationship. And then they start complaining like, oh my God, I attract all the wrong people in life. I always end up in toxic situations. I always end up in toxic relationships. It may not even be your girlfriend. It may not even be your fiance or your wife. It may be in the form of your boss. It may be in the form of your friends. Toxicity just manifests into different people. And relationships that you're having just kind of comes in form of many other people. Suddenly you could have a toxic relationship with your boss, with your colleagues in work, with your friends that you hang out with. And that is why, you have to understand. I'm about to sneeze, but it's not really coming out. I don't know, something weird. It's probably the air around me, or I don't know. Anyways, getting back into the video, I was a little distracted because I was trying to sneeze and stuff. Getting back into the video, like toxic relationships, the why people are so familiar. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone. And there are a certain part of people who love being in toxic relationships. They secretly enjoy being treated like shit. And that is when you look at modern dating, right? The modern dating, women actually kind of like being treated like shit. And that is because they feel that masculine presence around them. And don't get me wrong, don't take this out of context, because here's the whole thing. Women are feminine in nature. They're very feminine and they're attracted to masculine qualities. So when a man actually puts in boundaries and started behaving in a very toxic manner and imposes all these rules, regulations, and all this stuff, it is a masculine energy that has been exhibited from the man on the masculine side. And this is kind of attractive, but this is not true masculine quality. True masculine quality is actually virtue, honor, having this higher purpose, having a purpose which is higher than life, which is higher than you, which is on this level of God, serving God, going and having this higher purpose where you trying to build something, achieve something in life, and you have this honor, you have this courage, you have virtue. These are masculine qualities, and many women, many girls in today's modern dating, they have not experienced this. They don't really know what this feels like, because men who have these true masculine qualities make up only 1 to 3% of the entire population. So all that they've been, conditioned or familiar to are these men who impose these toxic masculine qualities, such as, imposing dominance, arrogance, unnecessary use of strength, unnecessary use of, masculine qualities such as imposing violence. And women don't really have a reference point of how these good qualities in a man, such as virtue, honor, courage, having a higher purpose, feels like. They have no reference point, and that's a sad reality. So when some pickup artist starts coming and using this technique called negging. Now, negging is a technique when if you go read this pickup artistry comments and stuff, right? Negging is a technique where intentionally insult a girl, like, oh my God, you have too much makeup, but still you kind of look beautiful. It's like a push and pull method where they kind of insult the girl. It's like spiking the girl's emotions just so they can make the girl feel something. Now, you don't need all these techniques. So girls are kind of used to this negative or the dark side of masculine qualities, and they don't really have a reference point to the positive side or the good side of masculine qualities because they're so rare. There's a lack of men who have this positive side of masculine qualities, and that is why red pill community exists. That's why this black pill community exists. All these community of men, the sigma alpha male, they keep telling her, treat a girl like crap and she'll love you back for it. Be toxic, guys. And it actually kind of works. I know this sounds absolutely backward and messed up, but that is the society that we live in today. That is modern dating. And part of it is because we messed it up. As men, we kind of messed it up. And now that's a whole another topic. I could make an entire 50-minute long video on just this, on just modern dating. I can make 100 videos on just modern dating, and still it won't be enough because we are messed up so bad. And is there a way? There can be a way. We can choose an alternate path, but I don't see that we can fix it. We cannot go back to the golden days. But anyways, I will make more videos on that. But coming back to toxic relationships, if you're stuck in a toxic relationship, just because you break up with a person or just because you leave or avoid the person, you are not going to stop having toxic relationships, because it's inside. It's inside in your heart. You have to do the inner work because you have so been conditioned. You've been used to being in these toxic relationships. You're so used to being treated like this. And part of you kind of misses that. All of us, had this phase where we had this one bad friend, but we try to cut him off or cut her off. And after cutting them off, it kind of feels empty. It kind of feels like a part of you is just missing because you've been so used to it. You've been so conditioned towards it. And one more point is, many people who are in toxic relationships, right? They know the other person is bad. They know the other person is bad for them. And the other person also knows this person is bad for them. So two toxic people attract each other, and both are in toxic relationship. And they just, and there's a saying, right? When people commit crime together, it bonds them more than anything. Because two thieves have a much stronger friendship than two people working in a bank. Two criminals have a much stronger bond with each other than two people, two professors or two colleagues who have been friends for 10, 15 years, because crime is a secret ingredient, apparently. If you do commit a crime together, you're apparently more bonded than, not committing a crime and being friends with normal people or developing friendships over a period of 10, 15, 20 years. And that's the whole point. Many of these toxic relationships consist of two people who are toxic themselves, and they don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit that they're toxic. They always want to put the blame that the other person is toxic. And so when they're in this toxic dynamic relationship, right, the communication, the behavior, the attitude, the activities are going between each one of them is inherently toxic. And they know that. They secretly kind of love that. They love being treated that way. And this is a whole vicious cycle. It's so messed up. So just by removing yourself from the toxic person is not going to help you in any way, because you have to address the issues that have been rooted deep inside. Now, these are issues that may have arisen due to your childhood. Many of us carry all these things that have happened in our childhood, all this childhood trauma that have been inherently present in us. And growing up, all these teenage years that have influenced us and that shape us as a person. And when we enter adulthood, we are totally conditioned by the society. We have this belief system that we have this pattern of thinking: don't do that, don't do this, you should do that, you should not do this, don't think, don't behave like this. Like all this kind of rules are being imposed by us, and we don't have the capacity to break out of it. We don't want to break out of it because we're so comfortable being in that same place, the same state. It feels warm and cozy. Deep down inside, you know, that's by stepping out of your comfort zone and addressing the issues or addressing the trauma that you've endured for such a long time. If you do that, you can essentially break free, elevate, inherent, and change your state of consciousness. And all this stuff, it feels really uncomfortable. Leaving the person itself is uncomfortable. But after you leave the person, you're scared because you don't want to be alone. You have that fear of being lonely, of being alone. And your mind is like, something is better than nothing. That's the worst possible, ideology you can have. Something is better than nothing. And I heard this quote: never be so hungry that you eat at any table. And that resonates deeply with what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to convey. Because many people jump from one toxic relationship to another toxic relationship, and the pattern just continues. They may have a girlfriend who has been extremely toxic. They try to come out and try to find another girl who seems very, complete opposite from the different girl or guy or whatever, and then they find out the other person is also toxic in some other way. And their whole life, just this vicious cycle from jumping from one toxic relationship to another toxic relationship. And it's a funny story because not only romantic relationships, this can also manifest in other relationships, such as I discussed, such as your boss, your colleague, your business partners, your best friends, your work friends, the friends that you make while you travel. Everything. It's like when you are in this toxic state, you attract people. You attract people at the same frequency or the same level you are. You see, a thief always attracts another thief. Whichever city he goes to, he somehow finds another thief. A criminal always finds another criminal to be friends with. And it's so funny because you attract people in the same energy level or the same state that you are. So instead of trying to chase external validation or external people like, oh my God, this person is toxic, let me go find another person. Just change yourself. I don't mean like change, elevate yourself. That's the right word. You don't really have to change yourself because you are perfect the way you are. You just have to elevate your state, just to elevate your consciousness. And when you do that, you start, moving on to this separate life path. It's like reality transurfing. You transurf into an alternate reality. You start being that person who's perfect because you believe in yourself that you have let go of all this toxicity that's been there in your system, that has been there, leaching out, just sucking out all your life force for so many years. And this may be the result of, as I mentioned, childhood trauma. All the years that you've been raised in this planet, growing up in this planet, you have taken in some belief systems and you've been used to certain conditions and you have adapted yourself towards that. You have kind of attached yourself towards that. And coming out of it and being, exploring this unknown territory, surfing untouched waters seems scary, but it is necessary. This is basically stepping out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is toxicity. And having relationships with toxic people, having toxic relationships, that is your baseline. That's how your mind is, identified as home, or that's how you receive love. You have to just shift that state and not tolerate toxic behavior, and not tolerate toxic behavior imposed by yourself onto you. Because if you truly love yourself, you would not allow yourself to be in this toxic pattern. You would not allow yourself to think in a toxic manner. But this requires a lot of inner work. This requires a lot of determination, consistency, discipline, dedication. I know, but none of this matters. All of these attributes that I just mentioned, you don't have to do all that. You just have to shift. If you have an end goal, if you have an idea of the person you want to be, automatically you will put in the work, you will put in the effort. You will step out of your comfort zone, and you will be consistent, and you will be more disciplined to follow that path. Just have to, be very clear, like, what kind of life do you want? Do you want to always be in this constant state of toxicity, always having this fights, arguments, saying things that you can never take back, receiving things that you can never forget? Do you want that? Or do you want to live a much more fulfilled, adventurous, and an amazing life? Once you choose that, you can just follow the path and everything just aligns. And boom, you're out of toxic relationships permanently. Not just that one girlfriend, not just one boyfriend. You never have to be in any toxic relationship throughout your entire life. And whatever relationship you have henceforth blossoms like a flower for the first time in spring. But the scariest part is that you love toxic relationships. And when it comes to that, right, why some certain people love toxic relationships is because they feel some sort of high. It kind of feels good. They get this kind of kick, that adrenaline rush, that spike of emotions. And after feeling that, coming and living in this normal relationship, a healthy relationship doesn't get you high enough, doesn't give you that kick. And this is very dangerous. Like, when you think about it, this is a form of addiction. You are so used to, being in this toxic space. You feel good in it. You feel good. And they always say, like, the devil is charming and very seductive. So when you are with toxic people, you find more attraction towards them. It's like some demonic force kind of pulls you in. You know it's bad. You know it's toxic. You know it's not good for you. The other person knows that this is not good for them. But still, both of you go and be together. And some demonic force is kind of attaching you both together, keeping you down in this lower energy state, inducing toxicity in your minds, lives, and love lives. And there's a poem, like, we love all the good things in life, but we're so attached to the bad things in life. And I have my own analogy there. Like, if you see a toxic girl, she's more seductive, she's more attractive than a normal girl. A normal girl with like sunshine and rainbows, is attractive. But when you see that goth girl with dark lipstick and stuff, with tattoos, that listens to heavy metal, a lot of men are attracted. I'm not gonna lie, but she is pretty attractive. Like, a girl who's pretty sadistic, has this kind of dark nature. Many men are attracted towards that. And that is because they find some sort of high, some sort of kick, which kind of induces their mental capacity, their emotional state just blossoms. Like, it's just loaded with dopamine. It's like a dopamine bomb. Some bomb just explodes, and they find this demonic pull towards them. And it's pretty scary, because once you got used to that, that high, that kick, it is very hard to let go of it. And that is why, that toxic relationships are even harder to quit than alcohol and cigarettes and drugs itself, because it is so addictive. As human beings, we crave love more than anything, and love, toxicity, and lust all kind of, are interrelated. It is very hard. There's very fine lines in between them. It's very hard to follow this one path and not fall into the other two paths. It's like you experience all three, and then you decide which path you want to follow. Because if you're always in one path, you never know what the other path is, and there's no guarantee that you're not going to fall in the other path. So you experience all three, And then when choosing back love, like normal love, is very hard. And that is why you have to let go. And you have to desensitize, like make yourself more sensitive again, make your nervous system more sensitive again, because when you're not spending a lot of time reflecting upon yourself and spending time more in this toxic world, you kind of get sucked into it, into that lower vibrational state. And the best way is to detach yourself. And you're doing all this inner work and stuff, but you still feel that energetic pull, that demonic pull towards that one girl, one guy, one fiance. And you can't help but go back into that same old fucking pattern because you love that. You love being treated like that. It feels so good. It's like a drug. The other person just kind of lures you in, and both of you kind of go in this lower vibrational state and to all this nasty, messed up, thinking patterns, behavior, attitude, and actions towards each other, ruining both of you. And you are essentially ruining yourself. The other person is essentially ruining themselves. And it's happening, and it's so interconnected. It's interchanging. Both of you are partnered. Both of you are, both of your companions. We're doing this together. Let's go to hell together. Let's mess this up together. We are messing up each other, and that's life. That's our life. And breaking apart from this is very hard because I know, I have experienced toxic relationships in my life, and breaking out of them, it takes time. But once you break out of them and come and experience, all this inner bliss, when you do the inner work and start experiencing bliss out of it, and you experience healthy relationships and let go of toxic patterns, you kind of question yourself, why was I even in that relationship? That wasn't me. And that is the key of transforming yourself and shifting yourself to this higher state, to this higher being. And you shed out your old skin. And I was a bit thirsty, and this water is really good. And it's pretty cold, but I don't feel cold while I'm having this cold water. And it's beautiful water. Anyway, we can talk about this water all day long, but gotta discuss about toxic relationships, because water is gonna be there, but toxic relationships, you can enjoy water your entire life, but you cannot enjoy toxic relationships. Or if you are that person that loves toxic relationships and are enjoying, many people are doing that. They enjoy, they kind of get this joy, happiness, fulfillment when they're in toxic relationships, and you cannot help them. I cannot help you. If there's some higher power, such as the universe or God or whatever you may call it, maybe they can help you, but some people are so gone, like you cannot help them. Literally, you cannot. And there's a fine line. Once you have crossed that line and you love being in this toxic state, you love being in this addictive state, nobody can help you. You just, some people are not meant to be helped, and some people are not destined to be helped. And that's the thing, some people can't be helped, but still, even they have hope. Because if the universe decides, or some higher power, some grace, or something, some miracle happens, and even these people can, battle out their addictive nature, their state of being in this toxic relationship and being in this toxic cycle themselves, even they can change, even they can elevate. And moreover, coming out of a toxic relationship on itself is a big challenge of battling addiction. It itself is going through rehab. And if you're battling this, make sure that you shed out your old skin and transform yourself into this new person. I'm not saying this in order of put on this fake front and have this fake personality just because you have to. No. I mean is do the inner work. Let go of past beliefs, past traumatic patterns. Let go of that pattern of being comfortable, being in that comfort zone of toxicity. And it's okay if you don't know where you are going to go from this point onwards, it's like stepping into the unknown. Take that step, take that risk, and do what is best for you. And you know deep down inside what is good and what is not good for you. And come out the other side, the other end of the tunnel, a completely elevated person, a completely higher vibrational person who does not attract, neither does stay in the state of toxicity where you have let go of that high, let go of that beautiful, beautiful, seductive nature, attractive nature of this toxic person, and now you find joy and bliss in healthy relationships. And this is where life starts to become more beautiful, irrespective. This is not some fake high. This is not some fake dopamine rush. This is not that atomic bomb of seductiveness or that toxic dark attraction. This is beautiful bliss, attraction of love, that state which almost feels heavenly, feels godlike. And this is what makes you more fulfilled in life in general. And I hope that you experience this. And as always, thanks for watching.